welcome back to Orchid Time. Today is a very special day because in front of us we have an orchid haul. This will be the first one I'm filming ever, and I'm very excited to share it with you. Yesterday I had the chance to go to Natt's Orchids in person, which was both exciting and very weird. These are the first plants I have gotten since the start of the pandemic. And leaving the house was very strange, but Natt's greenhouse has been open for the last several weeks to visitors with masks, so we were able to go and actually see other human beings and look at plants in person. Also, they're having a sale, so normally I would not get quite so many plants, but get 4, get the 5th one free was a lot to resist, and so I have 5 plants here. So these, obviously I got these plants in person, and so I already know what they are, and they're not packed up. This is exactly how they were put together for transport in my car, and so I will now take them out of their box and show them off to you. I also got some sphagnum moss, since I have a lot of plants that grow in sphagnum now. Or, well, not a lot, but more than I used to. So, sphagnum moss, set that aside. And I'm just going to take these guys out of the box and set them up individually, and we'll talk about them. Just fair warning, this is probably going to be a long video, because as we know, I like to talk a lot about the orchids. So, oh, and just for the record, I am filming this on September 28th. No idea when this video will post, since I am literally the world's slowest video editor, but hopefully you will see it at some point in 2020. I may actually have updates on how these guys are doing before this video publishes. Alright, here we have the 5 plants. I've had to set several of them into containers because they don't quite stay upright on their own. And now let's go over them individually. We'll talk a little bit about them. Here we go. Alright, let's start with the plant we have in bloom. I got 2 Tolumnias. See here, these cups are just to hold them up. They're not actually in them. These 2 Tolumnias joined the 1 Tolumnia I already have. I've kept it alive for a couple of years. I've yet to rebloom it, but it is doing pretty well this year, and so I decided to try 2 more and see if I have good luck with them as well. The one that's in bloom here, get it out of its cup. I don't know if the light is good enough. It's an overcast day, but if you can see here, this one has dark burgundy, almost brownish flowers with yellow centers. And this is Tolumnia Jairak Firm Black Bull. I have not shown you my the Tolumnia that I already have yet, but these leaves are a little bit thicker than those of the one I already have. And it has quite a few fans and a really nice root system. I was actually not expecting to find a blooming Tolumnia, but this was the only one that was in bloom. And there was a whole forest of Vandaceous and orchids and Tolumnias hanging. I didn't even see these guys until I spotted the blooms. The owner sort of helped me find them, and she insisted I had to get the one that was in bloom. Let's see if I can get that clear. There we go. So some Tolumnias have a fragrance, and this one is really weird. It reminds me of like a campfire, sort of, but there's also a very light floral note, so it's sort of like smelling a carnation next to a campfire, or maybe if you're eating wood-smoked bacon while smelling a carnation. It's a good smell though, but not one that I had expected. So again, this is, there we go, Tolumnia Jairak Firm Black Bull. And the other Tolumnia I got, which is not in bloom, is Tolumnia Jairak. I think it is Flyer Carnation. And this Tolumnia is supposed to have pink flowers. I'll put up a picture from the Natt's website. But it's interesting to see that these leaves are even thicker than those of the black bull, and quite a bit thicker than of the Tolumnia I already have. And the fan shape is also different. These fans, I think, have fewer leaves and are tall, whereas these have more leaves and are broader. So that's neat. As far as I know, all three Tolumnias take similar care, and the Tolumnia I have already is in a larger net pot than this, in fine bark mix with a top dress of sphagnum moss. And that has been working very well for me over the last year. So I will be transitioning these guys into a similar setup quite soon. So these have been my new Tolumnias, which are Black Bull and Carnation. Next, we have a Neofinetia falcata, now properly classified as Vanda falcata. And this one has very long roots. This is a replacement for my Neo, which is on its last legs. I'm still hoping to save it, but just in case it doesn't make it, I did not want to be without a Neofinetia, and so I got this one. It does not have a more specific name than just Neofinetia falcata, so it's just a plain one, I guess. And its root tips, I don't know if this would count as reddish or brownish, but I think they are pretty. The name does not indicate anything about the root tips or leaf shape or anything. It's just a standard normal leaf shape, no variegation. But it has quite a lot of fans. And apart from a little bit of leaf yellowing, it looks really nice. And I was stunned to see, I don't know if I can get it to focus in and show you. I think, whoop, that might be a spike forming, which is very surprising because this is kind of late in the season for it. And I think I saw another spike on the other side. Oh, here it is. Let's get in there. I don't know if you can see it because the light is not great right now, but in there might be another flower spike. Could be a growth, but it looks a lot like a spike to me. So, replacement Neofinetia. Right now it is in a basket with medium-sized bark mix and a little bit of sphagnum moss. My Neofinetia, until its unfortunate mealybug infestation, my Neofinetia was doing very well in a mixture of hydroton and medium-sized bark with more hydroton than bark. So I would like to grow this one the same way in order to get it through our very dry and cool winters. So I will be repotting this quite soon. We do have roots actively growing, so I think that would be, and especially there's this nice thick one, so I think now is a good time. Normally you don't want to be repotting in fall, it's nearly October, but because there are roots actively growing and because my older Neofinetia really suffered over winter with its roots bare, I would like to get this guy adjusting to its new inorganic setup as quickly as possible before winter gets really cold and before the house gets really dry. So, new Neo. Let's cross our fingers for no more mealybugs. Our fourth plant is one that is completely new to me. I've never grown anything like it before. This is Miltonia spectabilis moreliana. And this particular one is named Royalty. As we can see, it is an awarded clone, and it is tetraploid, which means that we would expect its flowers to be bigger than your average moreliana. And the moreliana variety of Miltonia spectabilis has flowers that are more purple and a growing habit that is a little bit more compact than your average Miltonia spectabilis. Miltonia spectabilis is a species Miltonia native to, I believe, Brazil. Miltonias, and Miltonia spectabilis in particular, are supposed to be a little bit more easy to grow than Miltoniopsis. I have killed one Miltoniopsis, and I have yet to give them a try again. I'm a little nervous. But Miltonias, especially this one, are more intermediate to warm growing than Miltoniopsis, and a little more tolerant of like home growing conditions. So I'm hoping to have better luck with this than with Miltoniopsis. This particular Miltonia is a warm grower, and between the information that I was able to gather from various sources online and from speaking with the owner of Natt, it was recommended to me that I keep it in this net pot sort of a situation. Right now it is in what looks to be larger, like medium, but larger, on the larger end of medium size bark mix in this net pot. And since my house is dry for winter, it was recommended that I place the net pot into a clay pot, but over summer I should put it outside so it can enjoy our warmth and humidity, and keep it in the net pot outside because apparently it's very important that it have good air circulation. Now, at Natt's, most things are grown in a greenhouse, and apparently these do not do well in greenhouse conditions, even though the humidity is good and the temperature is good. In their greenhouse, it's not enough air movement for these guys. So she recommended that I also put it outside. That's how they grow their Miltonias, is outdoors under shade cloth. I have seen some differing recommendations as to what kind of light Miltonia spectabilis requires. Temperature-wise, people seem to agree intermediate to warm, and I have seen everything from Phalaenopsis light recommended to brighter than that, with no indication of like foot candles or what other orchid brighter than that means. I have to do a bit more reading. Like I said, I've never grown this plant before, but if you have, let me know what sorts of light conditions your Miltonia spectabilis enjoys the most. I want to continue encouraging it to to grow vigorously and to get it blooming. It's supposed to be a summer bloomer, so I won't be seeing blooms for a while. But as you can see, we have a lot of new growths here. That one's new. There's a tiny one right there that's new. And so I want to keep it growing vigorously as much as possible, despite the changing conditions between the nursery and my house. So, according to what the AOS guide on Miltonias and Miltoniopsis indicated, watering-wise, these need to dry out, or not fully dry out, but approach drying out between waterings, like most oncidiums, I guess. So Miltoniopsis need constant moisture, but not wetness. These guys need to have a wet-dry cycle, I guess, for like optimum root health. I did not see any sort of indication of types of fertilizer that would be best, so I will feed this like I'm feeding my oncidiums, I guess, with which I just recently switched to feeding those with rainwater mix dissolved in rainwater to keep the total dissolved solids at a reasonable number, because I was getting leaf tip burn on those, and to avoid leaf tip burn on this guy, I think I will do the same. And I will report back how that goes and which light condition I settle on. We'll see what works, I guess. I think this plant is at an optimum leaf color now. I don't know if the camera's picking it up accurately, but it's a light green right now. Not like yellowy at all, just light green. And I will try to keep it this shade as much as possible. So, this is Miltonia spectabilis, moreliana, royalty. And hopefully next summer we will see large purple flowers. Fingers crossed. And our final acquisition is going to be a challenge, I think, but one that I'm very excited about. This is Paphiopedilum micranthum, variety eburneum. I have been looking for an affordable source in stock of micranthum for the last year, and I was amazed that Natt's had any in stock, because they usually sell out quite quickly. Micranthum can be very challenging to grow and even more challenging to bloom, so I'm nervous. This is a species Paphiopedilum. For those who are unfamiliar, this is a species Paphiopedilum. Paphiopedilum micranthum is native to China, I believe. Let's see. Yes, southeast Yunnan province in China, and it grows at high elevations, relatively high elevations, which means that it is a cooler growing Paphiopedilum, and that can make it very challenging to grow in the home. Now, this particular individual was nursery grown in Hawaii. I spoke with the owner about how challenging micranthum can be, and she said that normally when they import micranthum from a grower that they work with in Vietnam, those plants will die in their greenhouse, which, if you've been to Natt's orchids, paths are what they do. So if they can't keep them alive in the greenhouse, then that would be very challenging for a home grower. However, the owner said that plants of micranthum that they get that were raised in Hawaii do much better. And so she is confident that if she can keep them alive, I can keep them alive. We'll see. As you can see, this guy has mottled leaves and so many growths. Apparently this batch from Hawaii have been incredibly vigorous in their greenhouse conditions. She said when this plant arrived in spring, it had these two growths. All of the rest of these, including this crazy one, are ones that grew over this season. So it's very vigorous. It clearly has enjoyed the conditions in their greenhouse. And now the question is, can this plant adjust to windowsill culture in my house? I will be growing it together with my other mottled leafed paphs. I need to decide whether I want to try to bloom it for next season. So micranthum requires not only a large day-night differential, especially during winter, but it needs a cool rest period where watering is reduced and temperatures are between 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 60 degrees Fahrenheit. If it is any warmer than 60 Fahrenheit, it will not spike. I don't have such a cold room in the house. Now, if it didn't need light during that period, I would just stick this plant in my refrigerator for like 2 months and that would be fine. Unfortunately, it needs bright light and good air movement while being around 50 degrees Fahrenheit on average. If there's a day-night differential, it should not dip below 40. So that's going to be a challenge. The plant does not, as far as I understand, suffer if you don't give it a temperature dip quite that big. It will continue growing as long as it gets cool at night, but it won't bloom for you. So my options for giving it this winter cool down would be to put it in the garage and hope that it doesn't get too cold. I don't know about the safety of that plan, or if I just want to try to grow it on my cold windowsill where the temperature dips to about 55 overnight, and then the warm daytime temperature is probably between 68 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. That's too warm to bloom a micranthum, and I suspect too warm to bloom its primary hybrid Magic Lantern, which I also have. I need to decide if I'm going to try to bloom those guys. I will, if I decide to cool them down, I will put them together and hope for the best, hope that I don't kill them. The other tricky thing about micranthum is its growth habit. As you can see, it sends new growths anywhere along its root and anywhere out of the pot that it feels like. That can be difficult to manage. People wind up growing this, I guess, in like shallow bowls. I don't know if a bulb pan would be better or just like a basket lined with coco coir. I've seen both approaches. People do that for Armeniacum. I will have to look into how people grow micranthum specifically as far as pots, if I can get away with just a really wide, shallow pot or not. So this is going to be an adventure. I'll keep you guys updated. If this guy gets horribly sick, I will also keep you updated. We'll see how it goes. If you have grown micranthum successfully and bloomed it, please let me know what you did. It would be helpful if folks in more northern climates could chime in, because if your advice is put it outside for winter, that's not going to be super helpful because it gets super cold here, by which I mean like 10 below Fahrenheit, 10 below 0 Fahrenheit. If on the other hand you are in an either even more northern climate, please let me know what you do. I would love ideas. Let me know in the comments, because I would love to see a micranthum flower someday. So this has been Paphiopedilum micranthum eburneum from my Natt's haul of yesterday. Thank you for watching. I know this has gotten very, very long. Let me know if you also grow any of the plants I mentioned and how they've done for you. If you have any advice, I would love to hear it. And if you're interested in seeing how these plants do, go ahead and subscribe. I'm sure to give updates both on the setups that I settle on and on how they're doing later in the season. Thank you for watching this very, very long video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.